Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin show. Today is December the 21st, 2019. All right, strong hand, long-term thinking. Bitcoin is next Bitcoin. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. Deferral of gratification. Golden age. Relentless. Avoid mediocrity, people. Yeah, it's the Beyond Bitcoin show. Strive for greatness. You're here to hear subject matters that go way beyond cryptocurrency. Yeah, so don't be shocked. If you want Bitcoin, if you want cryptocurrency, I do a new show every single day. Check it out. DisruptMeister.com. Friday's show was great with it was the This Week in Bitcoin. Awesome. Anders was on, and Phil and Juan Galt. So check that out in the archives. Follow me on Twitter at TechBalt, TechBalt. Hello, my elite friends. If you've got Beyond Bitcoin type of questions, you can put them in there. I'll try to get to your questions. You can do a super chat. Remember, type in Bitcoin Meister. Type in Bitcoin Meister, else I don't see it, or do a super chat. I'm going to get through everything. This might take a little long today because next week, the Bitcoin Rebbe is going to be our special Hanukkah guest on the Beyond Bitcoin show. That is next week. So this is, I want to get out all the dirty topics now because, you know, he's a Rebbe. I want everything to be clean when he's here. All right, pound that like button, people. So Roman Q says, sound money, sound family, fiat money, fiat family. That's a good one. All right, dude. So they had that impeachment thing this week, apparently. It was a lot of noise. And a tweet, my favorite impeachment tweet was the following one. I talked about this on a show from the regular Bitcoin shows, but it's time to go beyond Bitcoin with this. Vice President is trending on Twitter, and it's a bunch of people who seem to think Mike Pence takes over at midnight, and he's way worse, so they will just impeach him too. So yeah, the voting class IQ in America, I've discussed this before. They don't think very much. They don't really know very much. They're only now figuring out who the vice president is. And a lot of them, maybe most of them, think that what they don't know what impeachment means. They think, oh, president gets impeached, the next guy takes over. Or some of them probably think, well, the loser of the last election takes over. So Trump gets impeached, Clinton president. So then they found out that wasn't true, that Mike Pence is the vice president. He's next in line. And then they still think, well, impeachment means president. No, that's not what it means. But how many people in the USA believe impeachment means the president gets kicked out of office right away? How many people believe that? Quite a few. So that's what voting is about. If you worry about voting, then that's who you're dealing with. People who don't even understand the system they're participating in at all. So control your own destiny is what I say here. Get into the Bitcoin overlay. Now, smart people out there, they know that voting is something you don't want to die for. Okay, there were people in the 60s that died for people's voting rights. It's not all it's cracked up to be. I mean, that's who you're dealing with when you're dealing with voting. Those are your fellow voters right there, and you're putting the people you put into office. You're saying I'm willing to give up my life for the right to vote. That means you're saying these people control my life. You're giving away power to them, which is really unfortunate that we've become a country. I think the majority of people think voting is this sacred right. It isn't. It's not. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world not to have to vote. And I will give you an example. The people who moved to Puerto Rico, Peter Schiff, Yaron Brook, all sorts of Bitcoiners, they moved to Puerto Rico to save on taxes, which is gaining them more freedom. When you're not a tax slave, as much of a tax slave as a normal dude, you're gaining freedom. But if you become a citizen of Puerto Rico, guess what? You lose your right to vote for president. That's it. You don't vote for a congressman either, a real congressman. So your federal say, you've given it up. So what? So what? You've gotten real freedom, financial freedom. So think about that. Think about that. Peter Schiff, Yaron Brook, the Bitcoiners that move over to Puerto Rico And then all these people that make such a big deal out of these elections and voting, it's a right I will die for. Who cares? And it's sad. It's sad that people really blew it out of proportion. Okay. So you control your own destiny. And we're going to talk about that specifically. The personal responsibility is a new counterculture in a second. Because, again, mainstream society is, I'll vote away my problems. This guy, Trump, will solve it. Clinton will solve it. Whoever will solve it. No, you solve your own problems. By the way, when you vote these people into office, you're solving their problems. You're solving their problems. You think they're going to solve your problem. You're solving their problem. They get paid. They don't have to, their ego gets boosted. It's sickening. So let's talk about a guy who talks about these elections a lot. And that's Scott Adams. And you can gain some valuable insight from some of the things he has to say. A lot of things he has no idea what he's talking about, clearly. But he talks a lot. And he talks really slow. So you play him at 2x. That's a guy you definitely got to play at 2x. Anyway, he's talking about John McAfee. He's like, I've got to get John McAfee on my show. Wouldn't that just be the most interesting guest? He's running for president, and he's not allowed in the USA. And they can't track him down because he doesn't have a cell phone. They can't track him down because they don't care about him. He's worthless. Who cares? The United States could track him down. He makes videos apparently saying, oh, he's on the run from the USA and he's not allowed in the USA, but he's a maniac. The USA doesn't care, but what's he done? Maybe he hasn't paid tax. I don't know what he's done. He's not a priority. Trust me, a lunatic like that isn't a priority. And Scott Adams thinking that getting John McAfee on his show is a good thing. Scott Adams is in the clickbait a little bit. He's in the persuasion. He wants to get the 80%ers to, be hypnotized by him. So maybe he thinks Tone Vays interviewed John McAfee. Okay. And you can ask Tone about this. I've spoken to Tone about this. And I said, this was back a lot of you don't remember this, but in the times of the scaling debate at the very beginning, John McAfee was loosely associated with King of the Trolls and with what's his face also Rocket Man Wu. He was part of their thing. Like there were all these rumors that McAfee was going to buy up mines and all this stuff that was total nonsense that we even believed it then was, we didn't know enough about McAfee then. Tone Vays around that time did an interview with McAfee. And I said, dude, you got to put that up there, man. You got to put that up because at the time I thought he was somewhat legitimate. I knew he has done some bad things in his life and half his brain is gone from doing drugs and stuff. I didn't know he was totally whacked like I know now. And Tone tells me, he's like, Adam, this interview, it made no sense. I'm not going to publish it at all. And so just to put it in perspective, Tone Vays is sitting on an interview with John McAfee and it's totally worthless. It's totally insane. And you got a guy with like Scott Adams, who's internationally known, more so than Tone Vays. I think anyone would be willing to admit that. I like Tone Vays a lot more than I like Scott Adams. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about who's a better person, who do I know, whatever. We're talking about, so Scott Adams is naive. He's naive about John McAfee. Totally. When you got a guy like Tone Vays who's got this supposedly great interview with a maniac, he won't even put it up there because it makes no sense, because John McAfee makes no sense. And so again, Scott Adams, he talks about, not talking about things that you're not an expert in. Well, let me tell you something. Scott Adams is no expert in John McAfee. Pound that like button because woo. And some of you out there still believe some of the weird stuff that McAfee tweets out there. It's nonsense. It's worse than fake Toshi. A lot of it's worse than fake Toshi. And it's on the same type of level. They're the same type of people. They want attention. But I would think fake Toshi is more of a sociopath, psychopath, and John McAfee might be schizophrenic at this point. I don't know. He might not make any sense anymore. All right. So, but hey, you put those dudes on pedestals, think they're great. I give Tone Vays a lot of credit for not even putting that nonsense out there. Now, what do we have here? Oh, yeah, Sheila Dixon in Baltimore. Let's go to Baltimore real quick. That's where I'm from originally. I'm in Tucson, Arizona right now. I'll be in El Paso after that. And then I'll be in Los Angeles for quite a bit until April the 6th. So I'll be in LA from February 11th till February 11th till April the 6th. But I'm also stopping in San Francisco for that big Bitcoin event. We'll talk about my schedule more later, but it's all set now until Passover, definitely. So 3 cities: Tucson, El Paso, Los Angeles, and a little stop in San Francisco, so forth. Now, so Sheila Dixon is in Baltimore. She was mayor of Baltimore. She got kicked out. No, not Catherine Pugh kicked out. So this is how it goes. Sheila Dixon got kicked out for doing something corrupt. She had to leave office. Then Stephanie Rawlings Blake became mayor, and she resigned because there was a riot, and it was just, she had to. And then Pugh became mayor, and she resigned, but she was a criminal. So you 3 in a row resigned. It's real nice. And now this guy Jack Young is the mayor. He's got his own issues. But Sheila Dixon is running for mayor again. The woman, it's like Marion Barry. When he ran for mayor, he got kicked out of being mayor for Washington, D.C. He ran for mayor, and he became mayor again, even though he had drug issues. So Sheila Dixon doesn't have drug issues. She's actually quite healthy. She does exercises and stuff. Other than that, she's got not many other good positive, no other positive points I really can think of besides being a trim and healthy woman. And she's not young, but she stays in shape. She's running for mayor, and she's saying, basically she's telling the people she didn't win last time because she ran against a cheater, Catherine Pugh. So that actually probably will work. She'll probably become mayor again. And as I said, and people think they think who they elect mayor of Baltimore is going to solve their problems in Baltimore. And all these mayors that I've talked about, it's just gotten worse and worse under each one because they can't fix the individuals. They're just fixing themselves. I mean, and they've shown to the world that they're fixing themselves. They do corrupt things. They get kicked out, and they come back again. They're lying to your face. They're saying they're going to help you when they clearly demonstrate they've helped themselves. They get kicked out. They come back again. It's a roller coaster of corruption, and the people in Baltimore keep thinking this is going to solve their problems. The people of Baltimore got to stop relying on these people, and they're just the ultimate examples of like blind pedestaling of these supposed leaders. That if she will become mayor again, it is just the ultimate example. And it's just there's not a really go-getter mindset in Baltimore. Not very proactive there at all. When you think you can when you think you can elect someone who's already been kicked out of office for being corrupt to solve your problems. It doesn't seem like it makes much sense there. But she'll solve her own problems. She'll get a nice salary again. She's probably got a couple pensions already from other government jobs, from her other, they can juggle so many pensions. It's unbelievable. The corruption. Hey, but this is the political world, and the people keep supporting the same old people because they think that good luck to Baltimore. So what did I do? So people say, well, Adam, you're just complaining. Oh, no. I didn't just complain. No. I sold my houses. I left, and I became very wealthy and traveled around the world. I was in motion. So again, I would say instead of what you should do if you can get the heck out of there. Get the heck out. It's not a very productive environment at all. Or create some private productivity somehow where you just don't have to depend on all these sociopathic leaders. Sorry, there's no shame in leaving. There was a time when I thought, I gotta make this place better myself. I gotta do it myself. No, it's not. No, you make yourself better. I tried pretty hard for 10 years there on Linden Avenue, trying to make Baltimore better. It failed. It did. It didn't make Baltimore better. It made my block better. But who cares? What's the point? In the long run, I did at least get a valuable asset in the house, and which was turned into Bitcoin basically, which is glorious. But no, you gotta help yourself, Baltimoreans, and those people. If you think they're going to help you, you haven't learned yet. And how you haven't learned yet is beyond my understanding. So yeah, personal responsibility is the new counterculture because leftists like Sheila Dixon, they want to take care of you. And guess what? Tucker Carlson, he's a rightist. He wants to take care of you too. He thinks the government should solve all your problems. The government should provide a situation where you don't have to move out of your hometown if your hometown is just totally falling apart. Americans shouldn't be in motion. They should just stick around in whatever city they're in, be it a city like Baltimore, an urban catastrophe, or one of these little teeny cities in the middle of Nebraska that falls, Sidney, Nebraska, which is falling apart now apparently. That you should stick around there because the government has to solve it. You are entitled to stay in your city because the government is going to fix your city. No, You can't wait around for the government to solve your problems. You got to leave. You got to leave. You got to be on the move. Lech lecha, leave your father's house. That was the parashat in the Torah a few weeks ago. Lech lecha. Abraham left his father's house. His father's house is a city of idol worshippers. He got the heck out of the idol worshiping land. Can't blame him. Now we're in a society of idol worshippers. The idols are people like Trump and Clinton. It's disgusting. And they think these idols are going to solve their problems. And just like in the Bible, you're just talking to a piece of wood. It's not solving anything for you, dude. Pound that like button. You got to get a move on yourself. And so when people say, are you on the right? Or are you on the left? Because it all boils down to the same thing now in America. The right shouldn't be trying to solve your problems. They should be trying to create an environment where people can be independently successful, where the government is out of the way. But many rightists today, many Republicans, including Trump, they want to create social programs that are going to solve your problems. You solve your own problems. The party that you're part of is the 20%er in motion. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. Because truly, that is, think about what that statement is. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. The majority, the mainstream culture thinks other people, you don't have responsibility. Other people are responsible for you and they're going to take care of you. Be a counterculture. Everyone always wanted to be in the counterculture, but now it takes cojones to be in the counterculture because you have to take care of yourself, which most people do not want to do. All right, let's see if there are any questions over there. We got some guys over there. Hey, how you guys doing? All right. Ethereum, people were talking about 144 days left until the halving. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But again, the day of the halving, we have a big party in Israel. It's going to be awesome. But you don't really see the main results until a few months afterwards. Now, there is a lead up to it. We'll start that halving hype soon. Okay, so here is an interesting idea. They got some media coverage on Drudge. But unfortunately, the GoFundMe page wanted to raise $50,000. They've raised $820. The guy wants a 350-acre city for 150,000 homeless people. Citizensagain.com. I linked to it below. Citizens Again, build a city for chronic homeless. And the guy has given up his job, apparently, and that's why he needs this GoFundMe right now. I give him credit. He's trying to create a city of homeless people. It'll get all the homeless people, and it's going to be, I guess it'll be in California. The guy is based in California. Get some of these homeless people into a place where they can be homeless and safe, and get them away from the productive people. And again, it'll be a productive city. Maybe people will be able to make money off of it, and it'd be great. But unfortunately, he's relying on donations, and he hasn't gotten a lot of donations. But they mentioned it on Drudge. I'm mentioning it again. I would love for there to be a new city. People can fund it privately. Anyway, it's going to cost billions here, apparently. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but quite a lot of money. But good, a city of homeless, 150,000 homeless people, and that will take care of a big part of the homeless problem. Now, are they going to be willing to move? Who knows? Some will, some won't. But some of them just like living out on the street. Give them a place to live out on the street. But then in the buildings, there'll be people helping them and stuff. I like it. Go for it. The golden age, baby. We're 2020 start pretty soon, man. What is it? 10 days away? Awesome, dude. I'm excited about it. So I ate goat. For the first time. I believe it was the first time I ever ate. Maybe who knows? But the only time I can remember. So I looked up goat because it tastes pretty good. Kind of like sheep, but you can tell there's not as enough, like a lamb. You can tell there's not as much fat on it, okay? And it's lighter than cow too. It's its own, it's good. that's all I can describe. It's lighter than cow, not as greasy as sheep. And people say it's sustainable. But Americans and most of the world, goat is quite popular. It's quite popular. In the developing world, loves it, apparently. And it's sustainable. And it's not, they're not these giant goat factories that like put a lot of hormones into the goat, like apparently with the cows and the sheep and the chickens. You just have little herds of goats. So, but Americans are really, they just like what they like. They want their burgers, they want their chicken, and then I guess they want their turkey sometimes, they want their sheep, they like their pig, but that's it. Then there's the cutout and the fish, but then that's it. That's it. I love duck. They don't like duck too much, but they really don't like goat. I mean, America is really anti-goat. And I'm telling you, America, Someone should start a goat business. Start promoting it. Goat Council of America. I don't know. Good for the environment, apparently, for all you people that care about the environment so much. Now, so you don't have to be a vegetarian. You can get some goat. I liked it. Tasted good. Good for the goat. Good for all you people in Africa that eat the goats. Very good. The New York Times had an article about people with their smartphones and how you can be, basically your apps are tracking you and they know exactly who you are, where you're going at all times, blah, 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 blah. And the market ticker, Carl Denninger, has been writing about this for years. I linked to his article, which is just laughing at the New York Times article. Scott Adams said it was a shocking article. It's not a shocking article at all. And guess what, dudes? I don't have a smartphone. So I'm not tracked. But that's another thing. People are addicted to their smartphones. They got to be, on call for the boss, whether the boss be their kids, their wife, their real boss, whoever. Their app is their boss. Who knows who their boss is? So yeah, you don't know where Adam is because I don't have my I don't have a cell phone. I do not have a cell phone at all. Smartphone, of course. I'm not paying $500 for one. Why do I need it? I'm all into the tech stuff. Can do it all on my laptop, man. I don't need people tracking me down all the time. I don't need companies knowing where I am all the time. It's good. So I guess I could say I'm John McAfee, right? Like he says he can't be tracked, so I guess I can't be either. But I'm not going to say something ludicrous like that because I don't. I don't have a smartphone because I don't need a smartphone. And think about it though, you are definitely being tracked by these people. Oh, look who's in the house! Shane Ulrich is in the house. Pound that like button, Shane. Good to see you. Yeah, that's a dude I know in person. Yeah. All right. So, look, we got Benshins in the house. All sorts of people are in the house. Bus stop hype. Yeah, I got pretty wet. Bus stop hype. Yeah, that one time in Adelaide, I was hyped up at the bus stop outside. That was a good show. Check it out, disruptmeister.com. It's in the archives. You better believe I did an outside show at a bus stop because the internet inside of my Airbnb wasn't working very well for some reason. But the internet outside was free internet. Adelaide, Australia. Check it out. Other side of the world for most of you. Now, all right. So life changes. What is this? Oh, yeah. Yaron Brook. I hadn't watched Yaron Brook since I was in Australia. It was weird. The entire time I was in Baltimore, I didn't have time. I go through all my videos that I need to watch or listen to. I never could get to my Yaron Brook videos. It was very strange. There was just extra things to do when I was in Baltimore. I guess family stuff, just real life stuff was taking on. I couldn't listen to the dude for a month until yesterday, whatever. Anyway, I started catching up with some of his videos and I love it. I missed his videos. I realized it. He talks about life changes a lot as society becomes more modern. People's lives get disrupted and some people long for the past. And the past isn't coming back, but they have to find someone to blame when they should be embracing the technological glories, how things are more comfortable now. But throughout history, one of the things they like to do is blame the Jews. So Yaron Brook has a great video, Scapegoating the Jews. Karl Marx, who was Jewish, he blamed the Jews for everything, or he was born Jewish. The financial blame. This video will make you think before you go blaming people for your problems, okay? If you really pay attention to this video, it'll just even though you might be doing scapegoating innocently, it'll get you more into that personal responsibility mode because you can see where scapegoating leads. It just leads to blaming a group of people for your problems, making up complete conspiracies and lies. And he actually talks about some of the banking. Some of the reason Jews are everywhere. They had these banking connections throughout that's unfair. The Rothschild had a bank in England and a bank here and a bank there, and they're beyond countries. These Jews, they have no allegiance. They're the problems. Look, these no allegiance people that look like us, but we can't tell that they're Jews because they're so secular now. Oh, that's their fault that things are changing, and I don't have a farm anymore. I have to live in the city. Is because the Jews modernized it. I mean, watch the video. It's a good video, and it shows you why Jews get picked on a lot. I mean, I just gave some of because they are mysterious to some people, and they are in different countries. And then when they get their own country, people at the same time, people say, "Oh no, that's not fair either. They shouldn't get their own country. They should live in every country. They were doing fine in Europe. What happened in the 1940s? That was great. All right. So yeah, check out Yaron Brook. It's pretty good. And Yaron Brook was born Jewish, and he celebrates Christmas now, which is of course a disgrace, but he's willing to see that he talks about this scapegoating aspect. And I guess as a Jewish person, I definitely don't like to see when scapegoating happens. What I see in the Bitcoin world is people are like, we got to destroy the bankers. The bankers are our problems. No, you're your own damn problem. You don't need to worry about the bankers. You fix yourself. You got Bitcoin now. And then, when people start talking about the bankers and the finance, and it all eventually, if you start going down a fake rabbit hole, who do you blame? You blame the Jews. So lots of scapegoating will lead to the Jews eventually if you go crazy enough. So that Yaron Brook, I like that video. Yaron, I don't know why you're celebrating Christmas, whatever. Hanukkah is awesome, but do your own thing, man. That's your thing. All right, pound that like button. Now, there are a lot of radical liberals out there. They talk about the environment, retrofitting all these government buildings, blah blah blah. That will save the environment, use less energy, burn less greenhouse. All the catchphrases. Okay, how about this? Why not just knock down the government buildings? That would save a lot of energy. That would be green. Knock down all the government buildings and just build parks. And that would help. Planting trees helps a lot. So people could telecommute. We live if you really need all these government, they could just work from home if they're so productive. Well, why not do that? That's never, of course they don't want to do that, because this is about creating more and more government jobs. How could you get rid of government? They think these things, they need more government buildings. They got to give their friends projects, retrofitting projects for the government building. No, just give your contractor friend one contract. It's to demolish all the government buildings and then build a park instead. And the people can just work from home. They own their personal, everyone gets issued a government computer, and they got to follow some rules with the government. They can't look at PORN, and they can't do nonsense on it. They got to do their supposed jobs, and they work and they report to their administrator over the internet. We don't need physical offices for governments anymore. But no, they're not really green. They don't really care about that stuff. All right. For me, of course, my radical solution is you knock down all the government. You just don't have government anymore. Really, you don't really need these governments. Or 90% of the government bureaucracy you don't need, at least at the very least. All right. Here. So this is a question that was emailed to me because he's smart. He can read the note section below where my email address is. Most people say, hey, your email isn't there, Adam. All right. I would appreciate your opinion on a future video regarding your thoughts of a private versus public education in the USA and your experience. All right. So Adam Meister and his siblings only went to private school. My parents wanted only the best for us. Now, they only went to public school. But public schools changed between their time and my time. Public schools now, between my time and my siblings' children's time, have also changed for the worse, even more. First thing that comes to my mind about public schools in America is the danger, the sheer danger for boys, especially, getting into fights. I don't care if you're in the nicest of public schools, okay? You're going to get into fights. Boys are going to get into more fights than they are in private schools. Public schools, they put a lot of challenged kids. They may be mentally challenged due to abuse at home. They may have what is it? Asperger's and what's the other one called? They may have serious learning problems where they're going to interfere with the learning environment, and this causes conflict. And then the more the poorer the area, the worse the public school is going to be. So you can be in a rich area. You think, oh, I'm paying so much in taxes to my suburban Philadelphia school district. Ha ha ha. But no, you're still going to run. Your kids are going to run the problems there. They can get in fights. And this is the thing. If parents that don't care about their kids, they're never going to send them to private school. Okay. Never. There's your line of demarcation there. Okay. if you're going to a private school, all the kids there, their parents care about them in some way or another. But the public school, you're going to get a lot of kids that were created they were mistakes. The parents don't care. They're collecting welfare on them. They got some scam based on their kid. They let their kid eat lead poisoning. These people are horrible. So you're putting your kids with those kids. Okay. That is scary, where they have been abused. Some of these kids have been abused in the worst. I can't say the word, the way they've been abused by their parents. Would you want your kids to be with kids that have been abused in that way? And then those kids may do that to your kid. They may, I can't use the language here. It's a horrible thing. Sodom and Gomorrah type of stuff. What was done in Sodom, that type of thing. Man on man without the will of the other man. And it'd be hard. Would you want your boy that happened to your boy? That happens. I mean, that happens. When a kid has been abused in that way, he's going to take it all. He's going to take it out on someone weaker. It's what happens in jail. These are just jails. The public schools have become just jails now. They don't have shop class anymore. They don't train people for other skills. Not everybody in public school can become a college person, but they're all trying to train them that way. But they have to dumb it down so much. And then your kid might be college ready, but they dumb down half the curriculum. There's distractions in the class. And again, it's the violence. It's the violence that sticks out in my mind right away. These places are violent places where the worst, where things can happen to you that happen to you in jail. I mean, that is scary stuff. So if I had kids, I would send them to a Jewish private school. I would send them to a Jewish school. I wouldn't send them to, and so that's an option. If you're Catholic, you send them to a Catholic school or whatever. And just for a little example here, the Jewish Community Center in Baltimore, in Owings Mills, has a school, a nursery school, and a kindergarten. And some of the Baltimore Ravens, the black Baltimore Ravens, would send their children to the kindergarten at the Jewish Community Center in Owings Mills. I mean, they didn't kid it. They're not Jewish. they knew once they got money, they cared about their kids. They didn't want them going to public school or anything like that. They sent them to the Jewish Community Center in Owings Mills. Black Ravens, but Baltimore Ravens would send their kids, and probably to this day, I guess they do. So, yeah, teachers are going through the motions at these public schools. They just want, they want their pension. They're not, they want their 30 years or 20 years, whatever it is. They're going through the motions. They don't care anymore. Everyone has become numb. If a teacher abuses a kid, and that's happening more and more, the union sticks up for the teacher. It's not about the kids anymore. These are dangerous places. I would say they are literally dangerous. I compare them to jails. The public school system. So no, I would not send. And then some people are going to say, well, this jurisdiction is better than another jurisdiction. I have friends that work at schools, and they say their schools are good. And I'm sure there are times they are good. They can be okay, and then a kid will be safe. But to me, it's definitely not worth the risk. Definitely not worth. You're gambling. You don't know. Maybe the school, that school in the suburbs of Philadelphia is good. I mean, how do you just because you're paying a lot of taxes doesn't mean your kid isn't going to get into a big fight, especially your boy. And then when there is a problem boy in these public schools, what they do is they kick all the other kids out of the class. They won't even. They're too scared to punish the kid. They can't punish it. So he keeps on acting out over and over and over. I mean, it is like, it's Orwellian. These schools are freaking Orwellian. The stories that I hear, but yet there's still parents that are like, oh, maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it'll be okay. So this is the thing. Think before you have kids, people. Think before you have kids. It's very costly. These private schools, $40,000 a year. This is real stuff. But you will, if you care about your kids, and the public school isn't going too well, you will put them in the private school. You will do it, and you will find a way to get that $40,000 and support the welfare dollar. And you didn't have it budgeted in. You'll go into debt. All sorts of things will happen. So that's an unfortunate way that the welfare dollar is boosted up. But sometimes people do suddenly realize they didn't realize beforehand how bad public schools are. But I'm telling you right now, they're bad. They're bad. And thank God Almighty, I went to private school my entire life. It's been a great life. I thank my father and my mother for doing that, for saving up and that we never had cable TV. They never had a lot of stuff that a lot of other people had. That I guess that were in public school, and a lot of those kids are on drugs now, and I don't know what they do. I mean, but their parents got to watch cable TV, and now their kids are on fentanyl or whatever, and can blame the Chinese instead of blaming themselves. All right, that's fine. So I like Scott Adams, blame the Chinese. So Anyway, it's something to think of before you have kids. Private school is not cheap. It is not cheap, and you're already paying the taxes for the public school. Which I mean, another thing Scott Adams said. He was said that there was one guy in the Trump administration that was in trouble for tax evasion, and he said, now Trump shouldn't pardon him because that guy stole from me because he didn't pay his taxes. Whoa, dude, he didn't steal from you. The government was trying to steal from him. So when the government steals from him, that's your money now? No, that's not how it works. The government steals from everyone, and then they spend it whatever way they want to, and then fools like Scott Adams, he's not a fool. People like Scott Adams think it's our money. It's not our. It's this entity called the government's money that stole from everyone. So of all people, Trump should pardon is the one who was supposedly accused of tax evasion. And guess what? I don't know any of these people's darn names either. So I'm so happy about that. I have not wasted the time. Scott Adams knows all their names. I don't know the difference between one of Trump's associates and the other one. I don't give a darn about them. Yeah, that government stuff's ridiculous. So I'm screaming about government stuff being ridiculous. It's government schools. It's just as ridiculous. Just as ridiculous. And what I would say, and in homeschooling, I know that's a lot to ask. That would probably be the best thing, to homeschool your kids or send them to a religious school. But I mean, to have total, that's a very close bond with your children if you homeschool. But I mean, that takes a lot. That really takes a lot there, doesn't it? But I would suggest kids out there, because the public school curriculum is so boring and dry and politically correct and who knows and wrong. They're telling you there are 80 genders by now. Who knows what they're telling you over there? But and then when you say there are 80 genders, and then some kid says, "Oh, maybe I'm one of those new genders," and then he gets beaten the heck out of it in the hall afterwards. And no one does anything about it. But so schools should let kids watch some of these inspirational YouTube videos out there. I got to tell you. That's what school should be. You make up your own school for your kid. You let them watch like Fraser Cain, who does Universe Today, outside the box thinking about space exploration. That can trigger a young person's mind. I can only imagine if that kind of thing was around when I was a little kid. I mean, I already came up with creative ideas as a little kid, looking at books and stuff. But if like what we have now on YouTube, again, there's a lot of trash on YouTube, a lot of it. But some of the stuff out there, it can just spark a person's mind, a young person's mind. That's what school should be now. Just get them to sit down to watch these creative, thought-provoking videos that involve education. I mean, you could create such outside-the-box curriculums now. Private schools, and it doesn't have to be that much money. I'm making up ideas right now. You should start your own school that's based on YouTube videos. And again, I know there's the Khan Academy, that's college-level stuff. But, mix and match some stuff together and say, hey, this is my school. I'm giving myself accreditation under the Adam Meister rule. Send your kids here, and we can watch YouTube videos all day, and they can go their own direction. I'll teach them the basics. Who knows? I don't think it would cost $40,000 a year per kid to set up something like that. That would be for someone who really is a education rebel, who really loves education. It takes a certain person. It takes a certain person to be a teacher. And a lot of them get piled down into nothing. And just become shells of who they were. And they're just like, yeah, whatever the union says, man. Government schools. Government schools is the perfect name for public schools now. All right. So that's my opinion. I think you should get your kids into situations where they are inspired to aim high. And you can help them by introducing to some of these awesome YouTube channels too. So yeah, religious schools, private schools, homeschooling. Avoid the public schools if you can, my Lord. All right. So before the impeachment, the mainstream media was like, look at the pro-impeachment rallies across the country. And of course, they were pro-impeachment rallies in major cities, because major cities have a bunch of these liberal people who don't know who the vice president of the United States is, who think the government's going to solve all their problems. The major media entities are located in these cities, so they just go across the street. They can film it. there's definitely a silent majority out there. I gotta say. I mean, if you're in a 3,000 person town, is there going to be a 5,000 person pro impeachment or anti impeachment rally? No, there's not enough people. They don't care enough either. All right. So that was a little illusion that's created. I think the mainstream media, do they do it on purpose? Yeah, some of them have ulterior motives, definitely. But it's done out of convenience too. They're lazy bums. I'll just take a camera across the street. That looks like it's news. There's 5,000 people screaming in Times Square. Of course it's going to happen in a liberal city. And so then you broadcast it across the whole country. It gives this impression, rallies, huge rallies in major city. There's a few rallies. There's going to be rallies. There might be riots one day if he gets reelected. There might be a riot. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a riot in one city one day. But still, most people, it's not the biggest thing in the world. The whole impeachment thing now it doesn't mean what it used to mean in the times of Nixon. I mean, Clinton helped change that. Now it's just a political maneuver. All it is a political maneuver. And you shouldn't put your wealth in politics. You shouldn't worry about it too much. We're going to have more impeachments in the future. Get used to it. Whatever. Sometimes the Congress and Senate, they get emotional and they don't like the president anymore. So they do what they do. They make a big story out of it. And they think it's going to help them politically. Let's see who this helps politically. Not that it matters. You got to help yourself. All right. We got some questions over there. Having Show says, when Norway need to buy you a beer and talk. Norway was done in 2018, in May and June of 2018. Check out the archives. I did a show outside when it was 10 o'clock and bright. That could drive you crazy when it turns 3 a.m. and the sun's coming up. I will tell you that. But no plans to go back to Norway anytime soon. I'll probably go to Finland before I go there because I've been to Norway before. I've been to Sweden. I've been to Denmark. I gotta do them all. But I mean, if you got some deal for me, you tell me. What's this? Vention said 40K. I think I'll just stay. Yeah, exactly. Stay. Men going their own way can save 40K a year by not having kids. And some guys have. That's why they don't have kids. They don't want to. They don't want to pay for kids. It's very expensive. Now that's not why I don't have kids. I would like to have a son. I would. I can't afford it. I can't afford to have a son. It's just those other issues. No. And again, this is when the naive people say, you just got to find a woman that you want, Adam. No, I've had many women that I wanted, had them in many different ways. And what I can't stand now, I don't want a woman around me. They're annoying. They're completely annoying. Many are annoying. And in order for me to have a kid, the mother must be Jewish. So I'd be willing to pay a Jewish woman to have my child and then for me to have the child. But I don't know if anyone's going to be down with that. But that's something to work on later. I'll be able to produce sperm for many, many, many more years. And I'm only getting wealthier. So whatever it takes, I think probably one day I will be able to pay some woman, a Jewish woman, $1 million, $2 million and have complete control over the kid or something like that. So I'm in no rush. But yes, for many men out there who don't get into Bitcoin and who, value their wealth in women all the time and then realize, oh my God, I have no money. I spent it all on women and booze. How can I afford to have a kid when I get married? But the woman makes them have a kid anyway and they go broke. So it's interesting. It's interesting what's going on today. But there are channels out there to say, most men, they've woken up. They know that marriage isn't worth it. Nope, not at all. Most men don't know that at all. Most men still traditional completely. The people on the internet are living in a bubble where, you actually hear guys talking like me saying, well, maybe it's not worth it. And, women can be annoying. And again, there are great women out there too and stuff. And, but no, most guys are on that track they worship women. It's probably worse than it ever was before. The worshiping of women. So all the guys that are out there like, yeah, all these guys are independent now. Look at us all pat each other on the back on the internet. First of all, half the guys saying that they're independent men right now are sending Bitcoin to women online just to see a picture, a little bit of their chest or something like that. I mean, that's how pathetic some of these guys are. They talk a real big game. Oh, the whole world is going MGTOW. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's no, you got to be honest with yourself here. Most men work or put the women on the pedestal, and they let them do that. Personal responsibility is the new counterculture. It's the new counterculture. But I mean, I think the worst is the guys that say, no, I'm not into women at all, and then they're spending all their money online on women that they will never meet, and who think they're dirt. The women actually think these guys are complete dirt morons, and they are complete dirt morons if they're just throwing if they think they're getting company by sending a woman $100 and she'll say hi to them or show them the top of her thing. This is pathetic. All right, have some self-respect, dudes. Now, okay, we talked about pro-impeachment. I'm not going to talk about the MAGA hat thing. So at the beginning of the year, thanks to Carl Denninger at the Market Ticker was talking about how Ruth Bader Ginsburg would not make it through the year because she has a serious, she had pancreatic cancer, I think, and she's still alive. And I thought she would not make it to the 2020s, and she's going to make it. It looks like. I don't think she'll make it until November. But here's the thing: whatever she's doing, she's got the best treatment in the world. Obviously, a lot of people want to keep her alive, and to tell you the truth, it would be nice once she leaves this world if they could share what they did. If the regular people could figure out, say, this was the regimen that we gave Ruth Bader Ginsburg to keep her alive much longer than most people survive her age, that type of disease. It would be really helpful for the world to know what they did, whoever did, what she did, what's her regimen, what's your regimen, Ruth? What's keeping you alive here? As most people said you would be deceased by this time. It would be great. And, I don't agree with the woman on politics, but there's no doubt in my mind she is alive. And she has definitely shocked many people, including myself. So I would love to know what she's doing, if it's completely medicine or she's doing some natural things. It would help. It would be great to know. And I think if she said this while she's alive, maybe it would bring some people over to her side of the aisle. Who knows? But I doubt that's going to happen. But there can be little doubt that she's getting the best treatment in the world and getting cutting-edge technology, cutting-edge knowledge. And it would be great if that knowledge could be shared. I'll leave it at that. So last week, why were we talking about, Vincent was saying how tall he was and how much he weighed. And I said how tall I was, how much I weigh. And I said, I'm 5'10" on a good day. I actually want to correct that. I am 5'10", definitely, with my hair. There's no doubt about that. With the hair, I am 5'10". So that's a benefit of not shaving your head, of having this tall, spiky hair. You do appear, I'm probably 5'11" with the hair. And we were just talking about women before. Some of them can be really superficial about height. I'm sure in my day, the spiky hair, besides, calling attention to me or whatever it may have done, there probably were women that were like, "Ooh, he's tall. Look at him. He's tall." But I'm really not that. I'm just regular. 5'10" is quite regular, but it's the hair there. So I wanted to point that out. But hey, people can be superficial. There are plenty of women that like bald guys too, by the way, and there are women that like short, stocky guys too. Apparently, now again, there's all these things that are like, oh, a woman. Some of these women out there apparently on Tinder. By the way, I never, since I don't have a cell phone, I never got to experience that Tinder stuff. Had it come. Had I had a smartphone and it happened when I was younger, I probably would have tried. But I remember I tried to get on Tinder through the laptop and I couldn't do it. And I was like, this is it. But some guys told me some good things. They were like, yeah, I got this. Whatever they told me. This was 8 years ago or something like that. And, I was still valuing my wealth in women then. I was like, let me try this. But no, it didn't work at all. But yeah, some apparently now I've heard from different videos that some women say only 6'2" and above. Which is absolutely ridiculous. They don't even know what 6'2" is. They probably see a guy with tall hair or whatever like me, and they think, maybe he's 6'2". They don't know. They don't really even know. It's just it's something they just put in there. Half of them, because half of them don't know who the vice president is. So I seriously doubt they can tell you what 6'2" really is. 6'2" is tall. It's tall. Any guy can point to a guy and say, that guy's 6'2". It's easy, but I don't think most women really could. So yeah, if you want an extra inch, or spike it, dude. So yes, I really am. Definitely 5'10" all the time. As long as when I lose my hair, I won't be. But you lose by the time as you get older, you shrink anyway. So, and also I talked about Tumeric last week or a couple weeks ago. Tumeric, which is, I still have it here. the thing I forgot to mention about this, it's really important. It is healthy. And when you're cooking with it, it gets yellow everywhere on your hands. If you touch stuff and it stains, you be careful. Be careful. It's like really yellow on everything immediately. You touch a little bit of it. It's just, it might even stain your freaking countertop. you gotta like work hard to get the yellow out of that. It's maybe that means it's doing something good in your body. I have no idea, but it does stain yellow really easily. Carl Denninger, something I've been meaning to bring up for a while, that Russia is it's like the most overrated country out there. He talks about they have one aircraft carrier that caught on fire the other day. And this is what everyone's like saying we should be scared of these people. The United States should worry about Russia. Again, the one thing they have is nuclear weapons. Okay. Otherwise, it's cold. The people want to get out of there. The people are drinking heavily. Things are not maintained very well, including those nuclear weapons. There's some people say that they couldn't even shoot off most of the nuclear weapons because the stuff isn't maintained anymore. It's not a major league. It's not a major league country. It really, and it's just, it's a darn shame that there are all these people that they know some people are still stuck in this Cold War mentality. I guess that people of a certain age that grew up, you're supposed to be scared of the USSR. That's so over, dude. And it's like way over. Okay. All these Asian countries, that they wanted to, they could be so much more scarier than Russia. Okay. But they're good countries. Japan is a good country. Korea is a good country. People work hard. People want to stay in these countries. They're productive. They're not incredibly corrupt. Russia is corrupt and cold and drinking issues, and it's falling apart, and it's nothing to worry about at all. But we these people in our government blow it out of proportion. It's hilarious. Let them hack what are they going to do? Hack our election? Who cares? A bunch of some kids in Russia who've got some computer skills played around with Facebook. Okay, good. They should get out of Russia and go to a country where they can get a good job. Pretend to be Jewish and go to Israel like a lot of Russians did. Again, I mentioned this a few times. My great-great-grandfather was a Jew. and they hate Jews, but still they go to Israel because they just don't like living in Russia that much. They want to live in a real country. All right, so enough of Russia. And again, Russian people are great people. Some of them are great people. I'm sure I have no desire to visit there at all. And they don't make it easy. I think you need a visa to get in there. They're real smart. Americans need a visa to get into their broke country. That makes sense. It's just like Brazil. I think Brazil's made it easier now, maybe. You want Americans to visit your country to spend like madmen, to contribute to your country, okay? To bring wealth into your country. Because Americans spend like drunken sailors wherever they go. That's just the way of Americans. So you should make it easy for Americans. But no, they have this, it's all political. They want to think that they're stronger than America, so we will make it hard for Americans to visit. Yeah, great. You do that, you won't get American money. You're foolish. All right, so yeah, enough Russia talk. Pound that like button. So when I was, when Vention also said the marriage rate is falling nicely. It is falling. I'm not doubting that. Many underestimate MGTOW. I think that we having an impact, though that's beyond. No, you're not having an impact. The marriage rate is falling because dudes are broke. And they can't afford it. It's just a natural thing. It's not because they're thinking, they just can't even do it anymore. I'm about to talk about cars. Dudes are getting in debt into cars. They thought they needed a Mustang when they were 19. Now they can't afford, no woman's going to marry them. A lot of women don't think they need men anymore. They have good jobs. Why do they need a man? They can get pleasure from a woman. They can adopt a kid in Africa or something. I don't know. That women are putting off marriage so much longer. And they end up with some other guy that was already married before. So who knows what they end up. The guy pool is growing and growing because of fewer women want to get married and fewer guys can afford to get married. It's not like they went to YouTube and found out about Youvention. I wish they did. I wish people could think it all out naturally. But it's just what's coming natural. Dudes are broke. Women got money. They have government jobs. Some of them have useless jobs. They're being promoted through affirmative action, and they're making a lot of money. They don't need a man anymore. So, and then the other thing is there's plenty of women out there. They get prego. They got their kid already. Why get married? The government is paying for everything. So there's much more unproductive women out there. There's plenty of women that are earning their jobs, I'm sure, and then they don't want to get married. But then there's plenty of women who aren't earning anything, are just living off the big government. They already have their kids. Why get married? So yeah, the marriage rate is of course falling. And then some guys they go from one woman to another woman to another woman, and they're living off of welfare themselves. Why get married? So yeah, the marriage rate is falling. Yeah, they don't know about MGTOW. They know about the government. They know about Sheila Dixon in Baltimore City is going to pay for their kid. That's what they know. They don't know about us. They don't know about Adam Meister talking about, why get married? Why put it off? That. What are they watching on you? They're watching the Ravens on YouTube. They're not watching us. Or they're watching them a rap video or something like that. They're not watching you. They're not watching this. So men refusing to marry are not impacting the marriage rate. Okay, Adam, I have to do. There's a few guys that have refused to get married. It's not that many. They're not the main reason behind it. Guys, MGTOW, guys that have gone their own way, who have thought it out, they're a small little sliver, and they're not influencing everybody. Most of the people, the marriage rate is dropping because the main reasons is because people are broke, because the government takes care of everybody. There's no social reason to get married anymore. It's not, people aren't thinking, they're not doing a cost-benefit analysis. People are not doing a cost-benefit analysis. They all want to get married. They wish they could have a woman under their roof. They wish they could. There's a bunch of guys that wish they could do that. The mentality hasn't changed at all. It's just some financial stuff has changed. They are forced into this. They don't know. They don't have the knowledge, the red pill knowledge. The red pill. They don't. Most guys are completely blue pill. Completely worship women. Worship. And I know it's sad. It's sad to think that we're talking about how you don't have to worship women and no one's listening to us. That's just life. Who cares? That's like they're suckers. They're suckers. They can live off the government too. Whatever. That's why personal responsibility is a new counterculture. They're taking no personal responsibility. They're not doing the research. There's plenty of resources out there for people to do a cost-benefit analysis of retaining a woman, having a kid, the divorce rates and everything. Most guys aren't scared of divorce at all. Most guys are not scared of divorce at all. So if you think MGTOW is educating guys on divorce, a few, but still most go gung-ho to the wall into marriage. They don't think it's going to happen to them. And then when they get divorced, they want to get married again. There's plenty of two-timer guys out there that are young. Whatever. I mean, keep on trying to spread the word. There's no problem for spreading the word. And it's the same thing with all these people that think that Bitcoin is going to take over the world. Most people are comfortable with fiat currency. Most people don't want to learn. But you can still have your group of people that are happy with Bitcoin. And you can still have your group of red pill dudes that are happy with MGTOW. It's just not spreading to the mainstream. It's just not. Most people are relying more and more on the government and not on themselves, not learning. So, I mean, again, it's good that a few guys find out about it. Is it making a tremendous difference? No, not at all. It's making a tremendous difference in individuals' lives, but as a big movement, nah. And it'll never be a big movement. Don't think it'll be a big movement ever. All right. But it's good to know how the world works. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's not. So when I was running on Speedway, which is a big street here in Tucson, it just hit me when I'm running by all these car dealerships, how expensive cars are today. Now, some of the cars look pretty good to me, even like the Dodge Charger thingamajig. And then there's a Chevy that looks like that. I don't know what that is. They look pretty cool. And then I see these young people driving them up and down Speedway too. But man, these things are expensive. New cars are really expensive. And some of these youth, in order to fit in, and people in their 20s, they go into major debt. I mean, this is such a huge source of keeping the welfare dollar alive. Everybody needs, so many people think they need a car. And again, I can scream until the cows come home about how silly it is to go into debt to get one of these sports cars that goes down in value right away. And you're going to have to work harder you're going to have to get into more day. You're just going to get into a very scary situation eventually, just completely dependent on the government. It is the second biggest purchase, you know, right below a house, but at least a house is an asset. A car loses value immediately. So, and it's not going away. The world isn't changing. The world, people are going to keep on buying. Now, driverless cars, I'm really looking forward to that. But still, some people will probably buy their own driverless car. In the future, you know, in the 2030s, I assume I'll just, you know, I'll fetch a driverless car whenever. It'll come to me. I'll have some agreement, some shared agreement with a bunch of people in a driverless car. Whenever I need a car, I fetch it. It comes and gets me. It drives me wherever I want to go. And that's it. But I hate cars. I hate driving cars. If I don't have to, I haven't driven a car since I was in Baltimore. I won't drive a car again until I am in Baltimore. I don't like being in cars. But that's an extreme view I'm talking there. But young people and middle-aged people, whatever, they put so much value, so much into these cars, and it costs so darn much. And it's an easy thing to avoid. You don't need a new Dodge Charger. You don't need one. But people eat up the marketing. So they blindly eat up the marketing. Like, and you don't have, just because something's flashing on TV doesn't mean you have to believe it. But a lot of people just eat it up. And then there's some people that are like, oh, the marketers are so evil. It's all their fault. You know, it's the marketer's fault. It's the market. No, it's the individual's fault for falling for flashy things on TV. You don't have to fall for it. And then, of course, they blame the marketers. And then all the marketers are named Greenstein or Meister or whatever. Oh, then you blame the Jews. But so pound that like button. But you should be blaming yourself. But what I'm trying to say is that things aren't changing. More and more people want cars. More and more people see it. More and more people want it. It's going to keep on funding that welfare dollar. They're going to keep on printing that dollar. Cars are going to keep on going up. You know, cars are going to be $80,000 a year soon. Most cars, maybe in a few years. And that's the inflation of the dollar that everyone says that no one will be able to take. No one will be able to take. They're playing right into they love it. They will find a way to pay 80,000 US dollars, inflated dollars for it. So that's why you don't want to play that game. You don't want to be in that world where you have to get that car. When you remove yourself from that, you're saving a lot. You're saving a lot right there. You're beating the competition big time there. So instead, you put it in the Bitcoin. Damn. All right. So this reminds me of an article I was sent, and I posted this before. You can read it again. I love the premise behind it. Middle class batteries, it's called. Power fueling important. Yeah, the middle class is the battery that fuels society. It's true. The middle class is just being used as a battery, but they let themselves be used as a battery. They're giving it all to fuel this system. But the system isn't stopping because people want their $80,000 car or their future. Right now, what's it cost? $40,000 for a car? I don't even know. That's why I was shocked when I'm running on Speedway and I see these cars. And again, they look nice. They appeal to the inner 16-year-old in me, okay? But do you have control over yourself where you're not 16 anymore? Where you can like say, oh yeah, I remember when I was 16, I wanted a Wrangler. And my dad said, no, you can't have a Wrangler. And I can look back and I can smile. Or you could be like, yes, now I can finally do what my dad didn't let me do. And I can get a 40,000 Jeep Wrangler, even though I'm 30 years old and I don't need one. All right. So most people can't. I mean, it's self-control. It's a deferral of gratification. When I was 16, I really wanted that thing. I remember. I thought it was so cool. But now it's just, I can get that inner Adam and see how that sports car would appeal to me, but there's no need for it. There's no why. There's nothing. All right. But most people can't. They're like, gotta have it. My dream was to have that car. And now I can't afford it, but I'm going to live that dream because I'm 26. And just because I'm 26, I'm entitled to spend $80,000 on a car and go into debt and help fuel the dollar that all the people on YouTube, they say it's going to go away and going to get inflated away. See, all these doom scenarios, they're just not happening. The 80%ers, the middle class battery keeps on fueling it and fueling it. We live in this little bubble here where we think everything out and we can see how things don't make sense, but they just are because most people don't make sense and most people aren't going to do what's best economically for them. Most people aren't going to do what's best for their health. They're going to do what it takes to fit in, whatever it takes to fit in. That's about being an 80%er. And remember that number, 80%. It's always going to be the majority. So, sure, a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. Everything should go to doom. But it won't. But it won't. Because they are the battery. They will keep on playing into it. You don't have to play into it. So don't worry about the other people. Don't worry about them doing the wrong thing. You do the right thing. Now, there are a bunch of people, they worry about everyone else doing the wrong thing, and then they don't do the right thing. So they're the worst of the worst, because they know they should be doing something better with their lives, but they just complain and blame it on the people that are doing the wrong things with their lives. That's, you got to be in motion. You got to change yourself. It's one step to realize that most people are doing things the wrong way. It's another important step to actually do things the right way instead of just complaining about people doing things the wrong way. Now, Frank Luntz, who's not that healthy of a dude, he admitted that on Ben Shapiro's show. He is a pollster, okay? And a lot of people aren't going to agree with some of his political leanings and some of the things that he said about Trump. Whatever, deal with it. The guy has got some basic understanding of numbers and how this whole political game works. And this dude knows that it is a total game and that there is going to be an incredible amount of money spent on, like, in 9 states in the United States of America. And in those 9 states, it's only a few people that have not made up their mind. That's what it boils down to. And he talks about how the scenarios of how Bloomberg could be, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a divided, what do they call that? A brokered convention. I think a lot of these candidates are sticking around, but they think, well, I can stick around. I'm not going to get a majority, but no one's going to get enough to clinch it. So maybe they'll go to the convention and I'll be able to get it, or I'll be able to get a vice presidential nominee. It should be, if you're into wasting your time on that stuff, there'll be a lot of soap operas coming up with that. But he does break it down. What it all down to: 9 states, and convince and buying the votes of a few people in those 9 states. That's politics for you, dudes. Something you shouldn't really worry about. Something it's good to analyze how it works, because you can learn about marketing and persuasion a lot from, listening to a guy like Luntz here and apply it to other aspects of your life. I think he's an interesting fellow, to say the least. And you're not going to agree with everything that he says. But he reveals how just non-thinking the 80%er voter class is. It's interesting. So check it out. He was on Ben Shapiro's show last Sunday, and I linked to that below. All right, let's get a good saying from James Clear here. Your success depends on the risk you take. Your survival depends on the risk you avoid. So don't avoid risks, avoid ruin. So you got to be able to judge. You got to have some wisdom here, people. You got to take some time, because everything is a risk on a certain level. But some risk, even Bitcoin was a risk, wasn't it? Was it a risk for me to buy a lot of Bitcoin when it was $400, when it was $500, when it was $600? I was risking tens of thousands of dollars, wasn't I? That was a risk. I wouldn't have to, but what's the worst that can happen? I'm going to lose tens of thousands of dollars. I know personally I'll be able to get through that. I won't be ruined if that happens. I'll still have some money. I'll still have credit cards. I still have the talent, the knowledge in my brain. I still have a low cost of living lifestyle. So your success depends on risk you take. Your survival depends on the risk you avoid. So yeah, there's certain things you got to avoid. There's certain risks, totally, if you're going around and you're sleeping with every lady out there and you're not using protection, that's a risk you want to avoid, because you could get an STD and you will be ruined. So think about that. Don't avoid risk, avoid ruin. Now let's talk about some channels that I find interesting here. Well, first of all, Vention said, do you have a voice over IP program on your laptop? I don't. Well, I'm not going to reveal too much about that. There is something. Yeah. They're linked to below. link to below. I have an affiliate actually of somebody who does that. So if anybody's interested in that kind of thing, I'll leave it at that. Yeah. All right. So what else do we have? All right. New video channel. Okay. So here's some channels here that I've known about these channels for a little while, some of them, and I just want to recommend them. Some of them are kind of deep. This first one is really deep. It's called Closer to the Truth. I don't know the name of the guy who's in charge there. He's a smart dude. He's got these philosophers and scientists on in 10, or like sometimes the shows are like 5 minutes, sometimes they're 12 minutes. They're pretty short. You can play them at 2x, although sometimes the people have foreign accents, so it's a little hard to understand. But really smart philosophers and scientists that go beyond science sometimes, and they go into deep philosophical talks, existential type of stuff. Some of it is even beyond my pay grade. Okay, I mean they maybe because I'm playing it at 2x that I'm not comprehending some of the stuff. This is some deep stuff. It might inspire you, and if it's too deep for you, then just turn it off. Don't worry. If it's too deep, it's a waste of your time. But some of it, I think there's people in there that everyone out there can take something from. So it's called Closer to the Truth, and it is linked to below. Another interesting interview series is the Hoover Institute Uncommon Knowledge. That's a little bit more political type of stuff, financial, economic. Stuff, more stuff that you're used to, not, what is the meaning of life type of stuff. Let's try to prove the existence of God type of stuff. That's all for Closer to the Truth. This isn't that deep. I forgot. I think they even interviewed Scott Adams on this. So it's a popular culture mixed with knowledge. I find it interesting. Hoover Institute. So what's called Hoover Institute Uncommon Knowledge series. So it's a playlist, and it's linked to below. All right, dudes, that is it. That is the end of the show for today. Taval Docris is in the house. How you doing? Okay, dudes. What else did I say? All right, that's it. Pound that like button, people. I know it's the holidays, so there are not that many people out there. YouTube traffic is going down considerably. But guess what, dudes? There will be a new show every day, including the fourth night of Hanukkah, which is Wednesday. I know a lot of people take off of work on the fourth night of Hanukkah, which is Wednesday. I didn't even realize what Wednesday was until I started thinking about it. The 25th is the fourth night of Hanukkah. So there'll be a new show every day. They will be live. So spread the word. Pound that like button. Follow me on Twitter. I know most of you are taking off of work this week, whatever. So yeah, more time to watch the archives. DisruptMeister.com. This was the Beyond Bitcoin show. We go beyond it. Oh yeah, I will have to right on the fourth night. I'll get this baby out on the fourth night. Maybe we'll light. I have to do this one night to light this. I did it last year. I lit it. All right, I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, check out the links below. I will say hi to you guys in the chat. See ya. Bye.